Do not adjust your radio frequency. This is not a test. This is the Artist First Network. Cool.
Across every time zone, covering both hemispheres, it's another featured music special on the Artist First World Radio Network and heard on many other of our syndicated stations worldwide, especially Spodtronic Radio and Gator Radio, just to mention a few. Thanks for tuning in wherever you are. You can always communicate with us here at the Home Base Central by hitting DJ at artistfirst.com. Who brings you the best new music you've never heard? Why, you know we do. And thank you guys for voting us a top 15 independent station on the planet. We appreciate it. Our guest tonight. We have a very interesting guest tonight. We get a lot of creative people here on Artist First World Radio, and just one of those people is about to grace our microphones. He's multi-genre and multimedial. I think I made both those words up just now. I'll explain later. He's written and recorded and produced over 500. That's 500 original songs. He plays at least 6 instruments. Now, besides music, our guest has had poetry, literary articles, and artwork published nationally since 1986. He is a certified meditation teacher of Eastern philosophy and applied Japanese and Tibetan Buddhism. And if you don't like his music, he will kick your ass because he's a third-degree black belt as well. Todd Norcross, welcome to Artist First World Radio.
Thank you, Z-Man. Great to be with you tonight.
You're not going to hurt me, are you?
I will not, sir. I will not.
Todd, you're an interesting fella. Reading up about you before our broadcast tonight and listening to your materials, this ought to be an interesting hour. You're a very creative person. But before we get the cart before the horse, let's talk about you as an individual a little bit. A lot of our listeners are going to be hearing about you for the very first time, Todd. So tell us more about yourself, please.
Sure. Well, I was brought up south of Boston, a little town called West Bridgewater, a great little area to live between Boston and Cape Cod. And I've always wanted to be, believe it or not, since I was a little kid, wanted to be a ninja. I know that sounds strange, but these things happen, and I found Kung Fu theater in the 70s and always wanted to become kind of a American ninja. So ever since I was about 12, I started finding out about martial arts and ninjutsu, and I found a book by a man named Stephen Hayes who lives here in Ohio. And when I was about 18, my parents, by the way, hello, Mom and Dad. My parents were kind enough to bring me out here to a seminar, and he was the first American to bring ninjutsu to the United States. So I wanted to train with the best, so I moved out here to train with him about 8 years ago. As far as music, I always had great music going in the house. My parents had everything playing. My sisters, I can still remember, they would play the records, and they would have, this was back in the 70s, they would have the latest Bee Gees or Elton John record, and I can just remember singing and dancing and just being so excited to have those records in my home. And I didn't really pick up a guitar until I was about 22 years old, so I was a very latecomer, as you know, to musicians. And ever since then, I discovered the Beatles and groups like Fleetwood Mac, who are my all-time kind of guru heroes. And I've just been recording a little bit here and there, and that's just what I do. I love to do it. It's part-time. I work as a martial art teacher during the day, which I love, and at night I create music, and I really, really love it.
You know, it's interesting, the world of martial arts, the Eastern philosophies, and music seem to go hand in hand, for some reason, many artists we've had here at the Artist First Network seem to meld those two features into their lives successfully.
Oh, they really do. I think it's because you have to really search inside yourself for answers, and most musicians are pretty intuitive people, and I think a lot of us really kind of try to be in tune with nature and reality of things, and to talk about things like the depths of love and things like death on a regular basis, writing in our songs. It really brings us to the East, where the West is we're a culture of outside images, and we really don't go too deep a lot. So musicians, from my friends who are musicians, are really, really quite deep people, creative people, and that's why I think there's a correlation there.
It also comes up to the creative. Is it a gene or is it the nurturing? And, as you just testified, you grew up in an environment where arts were supported robustly. So you're probably of the, then I don't know. So I'll ask the question. Where do you think it comes from, the genes or the environment? Your creativity?
I'm not sure. I think a lot of it is environment, like you expressed. If there's music going in your house and it's a pleasurable house. I had a very good childhood, and there's happy times there associated with music. I'm going to want to do it, and I find usually that's the case. I would assume if you have a terrible childhood, terrible household, and there's music going, that may turn you the other way. So I even think it goes deeper, that the type of music you write is a product of what environment you were in as a child. If you're maybe a dark person, maybe you had a dark childhood, and it can vary, but I wonder. I seem to write a lot of happy songs, which are good.
Happy songs are good. You can visit more happy stuff at toddnorcross.net. That's Norcross. Better yet, use the link that's provided on our homepage or next to the archive link, and you can click right on through. Nice website, Todd. Who set up your website?
Oh, a lady by the name of Amy Duchesneau helped me, and I do some of the work myself, and I have several people that help me with it, creative people.
There's a couple of very nice photographs. The one from Finland, it almost looks like a cartoon, but that's a real location, is it?
Yes, it is. It is. It's a beautiful little thing that I found on the internet, and it's a place that I wish I could sit and write music. I don't know if it actually exists. It probably is just a drawing, but I can just imagine sitting in the woods writing a song. I think that would probably be the coolest thing.
Well, then I'm looking on the website, too, at toddnorcross.net. There you are, a picture of you and John Mellencamp.
Yes, I met him at a Tibetan dinner out in Indiana. He and his wife, Elaine Irwin Mellencamp, are very big supporters of the Tibetan cause, and I just happened to meet them out there. I was doing some dignitary protection, and he was at a function, an art function, and I happened to run into him, and of course I had grown up listening to his music as well, so it was pretty amazing to talk to him for a moment and get his picture. You never know who you're going to meet out in the great Midwest.
Did you say you were doing dignitary protection?
Yes, it's part of what I do. We have what's called a Marishikai, which is kind of bodyguards, so to speak. We're not really the thug-type bodyguards. We're kind of quiet, kind of ninja-like. We just make sure things happen and no one is disturbed. So occasionally, when my teacher needs to serve someone, such as the Dalai Lama or Muhammad Ali, I've had friends help us with that, and we would just protect these people when they were in the Midwest and made sure that their journey was smooth.
I was hoping you weren't going to have to kill me for revealing that.
No.
Well, good. Well, let's get into some music from our guest, Todd Norcross. Surf over to the website, and if you'd like to send a question or comment to Todd, right now hit us up at dj@artistfirst.com. Todd, the first tune you've selected for our listeners this evening is entitled California. What are we about to hear?
California, it's just kind of a tongue-in-cheek song. If you really listen to the lyrics, it's about, it could be anyone from an artist to a musician to an actor who's always lusting after fame, and everybody wants to get to L.A. to show off. Everybody wants to get that big house and get that record contract and get on American Idol or whatever it might be for you. Song that this person in the song, a fictitious person, but it could be anybody, gets to California but ends up homeless, living on the streets. So it really just goes to prove that getting there is not usually, it's hard. And the destination, as they all say, is not the best place. The best place is the journey, and really, once you're there, you may not see what you expected to see. So that's what this song is about.
State of the beautiful and bold, to the place that feeds off your dreams, from Sacramento to San Diego. Yeah, I wanna take a chance in LA, get my name up in lights. Wouldn't that be nice one day? Can you point to Hollywood, California? Flying home to where it's good, California. Well, I never quite made myself a name. No, I never quite broke into the scene. But I did finally find the walk of fame. Set my cardboard box up between Cagney and Steve McQueen. Can you point to Hollywood, California? I just never understood California. We grew up California dreaming, like the mamas and the papas sang. Well, the Beach Boys, they taught us that believing every entertainer is dying to get into bed with
Todd Norcross, our featured music special artist this evening. He is a fascinating character. I've always had a fascination in Eastern philosophy. You don't get to talk to many people in my profession who have that in their background, I suppose. Todd, you're in that environment. I guess I'm not. But you know, there is, for those of you that have ever spent any time reading on the topics or studying it at all, it's a different way of thinking entirely. It's a different way of viewing the world. It's a different way of approaching life, entirely different. And there's a lot of people in the Western world that are completely, utterly clueless to that. Todd, do you think do you try to express that in your music? Is it impossible not to?
I sometimes do. It really just depends on what I'm trying to write. Sometimes I'll write really almost purposely shallow songs just to really have fun with them. And when you really start to get inside, sometimes it really can scare the heck out of you to what you see. So you pull that out and write about that. And again, you talking about the Eastern philosophy, it really is, it's so introspective, and it just forces you to go inside and take personal responsibility for your life, which is something in the West we don't see a lot of. And it forces you to look at your problems, look at your fallacies and bring them out, and even write them down in song and poetry. And really, the essence of what I'm writing about is hope. It always ends up positive. I believe everybody's born very positive and bright, and sometimes you get dust on yourself, but I really believe that we can get that dust off, and writing music is just another creative process to remove that dust, so to speak.
Well, and with you especially, since you're a published poet and other artwork, and you've written articles, do you have a favorite method of expressing yourself?
It's definitely music, and martial arts is a close second. Expressing yourself with your body through the martial arts is a beautiful thing, and to be able to teach and meditate yourself is a wonderful thing, and to talk with people who are going through problems. But there's probably nothing more cathartic than just picking up a guitar and sitting down and pulling the stuff out of you and putting it down and recording it. That's my favorite thing to do, is just to sit and play guitar and see what happens. It could be a piano, but I'm mostly a guitar player. I'm pretty terrible at piano. But that's what I love to do.
And you're left-handed.
I am, yeah, and it's hard to find good left-handed guitars. Yes, it's different.
I play guitar left-handed even though I'm right-handed.
Oh, good.
That's how I noticed, and I don't bother turning the strings around. Is that the way Hendrix did it? I don't know. I'm certainly.
Yeah.
I'm terrible, but it's fun. Not bad on the bass, but yeah, I noticed that. I'm looking at the pictures, going, those are left-handed guitars hanging on the wall on your website. Oh well,
yeah, they're hard to find, but you can find them.
Well, you know, a lot of people worry. A lot of musicians worry about their hands, because if you can't, if you get arthritis or you mess up your hands, and you're a guitar player, a piano player, you're in bad trouble. Do you worry in the martial arts of, you see guys breaking boards and cement blocks, and I don't know if that's what you do, but, are you ever worried about damaging your fingers?
Oh, I guess that crosses your mind occasionally when you're on the mat and there are three guys standing over you ready to hurt you, and you may think about it, but you have to really live in the moment. I don't worry about it too much as far as that. You keep your wrists quite flexible, and as you know, but by playing guitar, you build a lot of muscles that most people wouldn't build around. So I don't worry about it too much, but it does cross your mind on occasion.
DJ Fi, the phenomenal bass player, DJ guy here at the station, he does all these very intricate hand exercises and goes through a regimen, where he's been doing these for years, and it's a discipline almost. Do your disciplines allow for any of those extra dexterity exercises?
On occasion. I think just training in the martial arts, your wrists become supple and you build certain muscles, push-ups and all those things, just staying active on the mat. Our school is down in Mason, Ohio. It's a dojo that we teach and run down there. So we're pretty busy from probably 2 in the afternoon till 9 at night teaching classes. So I just think keeping moving all the time. By the time I get home and start to record, my wrists and fingers are ready to go.
Yeah, because, it's going from one environment to the other. Do you record in your own studio?
I have a home studio, which is the great thing about any person who wants to do music is, as you know, it doesn't take a lot of money to get great technology nowadays.
Absolutely.
And you can get I have a little 16-track digital, which is pretty much nothing nowadays, but it's amazing what you can do on these little machines, and you have the built-in reverbs, and you just plug in and go. You just have to have that creative energy, but I would encourage anyone out there that wants to do music, save up the $500 or $1,000, whatever it is, and get it done. And it's even cheaper. I don't use a computer, but I know a lot of people that use software on a computer, and that's even less money.
And you can download. Go on Google. You can, if you have a computer, even an ancient computer. If you go, you could download, listeners, 4-track, 8-track software, music building software.
LimeWire,
free.
any of those, sure.
And just get started. It's no longer the tools. I'm older than you, Todd, so I don't know if you remember the days when it was utterly unaffordable. There's no way the average consumer could afford to purchase the equipment necessary to put out a record-quality song, not in the home. I mean, believe me, we tried. We tried.
Absolutely, right.
But nowadays, please go ahead.
I remember when I went to school at the recording workshop here in Ohio. That's where I got my record engineering degree, which is a great school. And I remember the teachers all telling us, we would work on the old analog boards, and they were always telling us when the ADATs came big and all this digital equipment, they said, watch, the next 10 years, this stuff's going to be all obsolete. And they're pretty much right.
Yep.
It's amazing. All you need is a mouse nowadays.
That's right. But it still requires a creative mind. I mean, it's still just a tool. Some people put out completely lousy stuff on top-notch equipment. Listen to your local Clear Channel station tomorrow. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Todd Norcross is our guest, and we're about to get another track off his self-titled CD. Damita, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is the next cut you'd like to play?
It is Damita. It's a real fast song. It's Damita means Spanish princess. I don't speak Spanish, but this just caught me. And when I started playing the guitar on it, the little lead in the middle is a classical Spanish guitar, and that just really, I built the song around that. It really sounded Spanish. I Defy You, this song really makes you drive fast. So if you're driving, crank it up and listen. It's just a quick song. It's another tongue-in-cheek song about a guy that goes to Tijuana, gets involved with a lady of the evening, and finds out that her father is the head of the mafia. So it's really not a serious song, but it's pretty fun to listen to.
Love that
You're listening to a featured music special on the Artist First Radio Network. Todd Norcross is with us. We're playing music from his new self-titled CD. I can say that. If you'd like to send a question or comment to us during this broadcast, hit us up by email at dj@artistfirst.com. Now, Todd, you've written, recorded, and produced over 500 songs. Not just written, actually gone through and recorded them. 500 songs, my man. That's a lot of work right there. What are you nuts, or what do you attribute such your? I'm saying that affectionately because that's a lot of work, my friend. I mean, that's thousands and thousands of hours.
It is. It's a lot. It's just so fun. I can't get enough of it. Sometimes I have 5 or 10 songs going at once, and they're not all the same genres. Usually when the winter comes, I'll write instrumental albums, or I've done some Japanese taiko music. I've done Celtic music. I've done orchestra-type things. It really just depends on the mood, but there's so much energy inside me that I have to get out. I just enjoy it, and I've been doing it for a long time, ever since I was 23. So I've just kept busy. I don't ever sit and do nothing.
You know, so many artists run out of ideas. They run out of inspiration. Creativity is something that seems to come on in spurts, but there may be long dry spells in between. It's hard to imagine that scenario with you, with as much work that you've put together.
Yeah, I guess the dry spells do come, especially when you're in relationships and things like that. The time has to go towards that, which is a wonderful thing. And then sometimes when those relationships end, it gives you more material to write. So I think the natural roller coaster of life gives you so much material, whether it's a high or low point. And if you just got out of a relationship, you'll probably want to quickly get to your guitar or piano or whatever you play and write about that. And also when you're in the middle of that newness of love, you're going to want to write extremely happy, positive songs about hope in the future. So I think it just depends on the person, but whatever mood I'm in, I'll write about that.
You know, when you write a song about having your heart broke, and you do it as you just said it, close to the time of the happening, because it's a powerful time in your life, usually end up with a pretty decent piece of material. But then when you go back to it to play it, you go back to it to record it, you just kind of relive those things. It's not always a pleasant experience. Do you get into your music to that level, or are you just able to kind of switch it off?
Sometimes. I try not to. I remember learning in school, in the recording school, one of the guest speakers that came in said, believe it or not, write from the heart, but avoid putting girls' names in songs. So a lot of things that I do, I'm writing from the heart and about experiences I've been through, but I try to avoid using names of people I know, because it will make them, no matter what, it's going to hurt them in some way. It'll make them very uncomfortable. Or if you write a positive song about this girl and you break up with her, that's going to hurt her more. So I usually disguise names in my songs, and they should be that universal. They should be where you listen to it, and no matter what the name is, it should apply to your life. So I'm very careful on how I structure certain songs. I may be writing about a person, but I will never reveal that to that person.
And how ironic that the next song we're going to play is named after a girl.
Named Victoria. Victoria is kind of it's a dark folk song. I guess it's my homage to the mamas and the papas. I always loved their harmonies, so I really tried to emulate those harmonies. Victoria could be any woman that you know. Her mind is the narrator. A type of girl that might really drink a lot, sleeping around, a lot of emptiness and suffering, but if you listen to the lyrics, it's basically because she had no father figure, no role model, so therefore she was looking for that in every partner she had, and it's just a really dark song that I hope can help someone out in your listening audience.
I am your friend, I am your mind. I like to tell it like it is, to save that scared girl inside. You've lost too much weight, you have spiraled down. 'cause you can't see your worth, and the pain is all gone when they take you home. And they love you, boy, they love you till they come and go. And you want so much to hug your dad and the father that you never had. Oh, Victoria, wake up, Victoria.
See, now that's what music is to me, Todd. It's one person experiencing the song, and we all take something away different from every piece of artwork, every piece of music. And I was telling Todd off air there, as you were setting this song up, you were describing my last girlfriend to the T. It was kind of chilly. It's like, wait a minute, so you knew that nutbag too, huh? She won the nutbag, but you know what I mean. It was, my particular situation just fit that particular description, and that's what, I guess we do. We imprint ourselves on to pieces of music, but that did have a mama and papa's flair to it, didn't it?
Definitely. I always loved those old, and again, that's what I grew up with, listening to that type of music, and I've always been a huge fan of harmony. You take someone like, whether it's the Beatles or Beach Boys or the Bee Gees, those harmonies can be unmatched. So to try to emulate that it's an impossible task. But I would have loved to have just seen some of those concerts. This is before my time, but to just have experienced those harmonies is just breathtaking to me. And there's something that in harmony that really connects with myself versus a single voice. I love to layer voices and get that thick, fat sound of the 60s. I really enjoy it.
Now, do you do it the old-fashioned way or by recording each track?
Each track, yeah. I usually they're done a guitar first, or sometimes a piano or keyboard, and then lyrics come completely last. I do all the music first and just kind of pop the lyrics in on top of that, and I would say that Victoria probably had maybe 8 to 10 voices going on in there. Real subtle. If you listen, there's high parts and low.
That's what I meant. So each individual vocal track, you re-record your own harmony to.
I do, yes. I start with a basic one, like the lead singer, and then I'll build around that and just come up with different harmonies.
I witnessed a device made by Yamaha that has to be, 5 or 6, maybe 7 years old at this point, that when connected to a keyboard, about this thing's, smaller than a loaf of bread. You hook it up, you plug your vocal mic into it, you plug it into like my SY85 Yamaha keyboard, and when you sing into a microphone, whatever notes you play on the piano, it does the harmonies with you.
Amazing.
Your jaw will hit the floor.
How does it sound? Good?
Astounding.
Wow.
Especially if a guy would, now someone has to be playing the keyboard. Because what it's taking is the notes you're pressing on the keyboard and transferring those into the pitch of whatever harmony you want to play. So if your fingers change, you can change notes on the harmony. This guy did a demonstration, the Seven Bridges Road. Do you ever remember that song? I forget who did it. Anyway, it was, here's one guy sitting in front of a piano playing with 5 and 6 part harmonies by himself. And the harmonies changed because his finger would move from a C to a D key, so that particular harmony would step up. Well, in today's world, folks, every record you listen to by a major record label has been pitch corrected. Every Pavarotti record, you name it, Andrea Bocelli, they're all pitch corrected. They're all perfect pitch. They make them that way in the studio. So they're kind of cheating a little bit, polishing it up a little bit. What would be the difference if you took some shortcuts? And it's brilliant. Look on eBay for one of them things, man.
It is cheating, and when you think about it, the problem with that, what you're describing, as you know, when they get to the live concert, it usually sounds pretty terrible compared to the record, and that's a problem. I love to hear the old Beatles records when you hear a mistake or the air conditioning going in the back, or I leave those mistakes in my stuff. I don't have the equipment to do pitch changes, so if the voice is terrible, that's my fault, but I love those mistakes. Same with guitar playing. When I do lead guitar parts, I don't ever piece them together. I do one live take, and it may take 3 hours to get 1 minute take, but I don't really like to edit things together so that it sounds really fake. I love the natural sound of human beings, and if you make a mistake, or if you have a cold, or you say the wrong word, I love that. I think that's what makes music unique.
That's well put. And hasn't digital recording come full circle now, where they're looking for those old sounds? We're tired of the sanitized, ultra clean, ultra quiet, ultra perfect, ultra what they call quantized tracks. Where you can now buy tracks that put scratches back in your sound. Wait a minute, that just doesn't sound right. Todd Norcross is our guest, tonight's featured artist on tonight's music special. He is a licensed, I can't even pronounce it, Toshindo?
Toshindo, it's a modern martial art that was invented by Stephen Hayes, who again was the first American to go to Japan and learn ninjutsu from the last living Japanese master. And he lives right here in Dayton. He's a good friend of mine. I've been a student of his for many years, and we opened a school down in Mason that teaches ninjutsu. A friend of mine named Gary Bolton and myself, we're licensed teachers, and we show people how to protect yourself, especially from the inside out, as well as we supplement it with meditation and making sure that we're not creating black belts or we're bullies. We want to make sure we're creating protectors of society.
That's right. You must install those traits in them before you release them on us. Your little army there. If you'd like to pick up any of the music you're hearing tonight or any of the other 13 tracks that are on this CD, Todd, where can they buy this CD?
Oh, you can just you can Google my name, or you can go to my website, toddnorcross.net, or CD Baby. If you find my name on the web, you'll be able to find the albums.
And of course, it's always linked up, and it'll be on the Artist First archive link plus the homepage, so you can always find it back on Artist First if you have any trouble whatsoever. We're going to get into another track now from Todd. I believe we're going to play "Deep Within the Night."
Yeah, "Deep Within the Night." That's probably the most serious song on there. There's a lot of space in it. This is a song, if you listen to it, I hope it applies to your listeners. It's a total love song, and it's really about that inner voice telling you this is the one, whether it's your wife or husband or someone you love. It's a song about total commitment, proposing to the woman that you love. It's one of my favorites off the album. There's not a lot going on, but it really was written from the heart, and it hopefully can apply to someone in your life that you deeply, deeply love and want to spend the rest of your life with.
Put your hand in mine, kiss me on my cheek, lay down by my side and fall into a dream. And when you wake, you'll be feeling this is right, making love with me, so deep within the night. Will you wear my ring? Will you be my wife? Oh yeah.
You're listening to the music of Todd Norcross. What was that instrument, Todd?
That was a little cheap tin whistle that I bought in Waynesville, Ohio.
No kidding.
That I just, I love Celtic music. I've always been attracted to it. I'm a big fan of Lorena McKennitt, who's a great singer. And any of that Celtic stuff, I think it's the half-Irish blood in me that loves those really deep whistles. And I just picked that up for about $1 and threw that on the end of the song because it fit.
That was fat. I mean, the fidelity was fat. I got these big, rich headphones on, and it seemed I'm like thinking, man, I couldn't do that on my keyboard. That was too natural, you know? Like, how was he doing that? Well, there you go. Simplest answer is usually the right one.
$1 tin whistle, that's all you need.
Yeah, but you got to be able to play it.
And deaf neighbors, yeah.
Yeah, do you find that's the case? Do you have a lot of... My neighbors hate me for many reasons. Music is one of them. How about you?
Oh, probably. My neighbors are forgiving. I remember as a kid, my parents, who are probably listening, I used to blast the electric guitar. I grew up listening to Lindsey Buckingham, who's the guitarist for Fleetwood Mac, and he's my role model. So I learned to play like him, and I would crank it, and I would have the windows open in the summertime, and my neighbors, I'm sure, hated me and said, that crazy Norcross kid is playing again. We all do that, but that's part of that rock star image. You know, you go through that stage where you want to show the world what you know. Then you kind of come full circle and realize you're pretty terrible and you have a long way to go. I love it about the guitar is that it's, if you figure you play the guitar 50% of the time, you can make a mistake because of the way the fretboard is set up. And it's the ultimate challenge playing lead guitar because you just don't know what's going to happen. And it's just the best instrument ever invented by man.
So, of the 6 instruments that you're known to play, your favorite and most challenging is the guitar.
Definitely.
Well, it's it beats the hell out of being. You can't play a drum set around the campfire either, you know.
No, that's true.
We're gonna try.
Go ahead, sir.
No, please finish.
I don't have that many guitars. I only have maybe 5 or 6, which I think for guitars really isn't a lot because you need different guitars for different sounds. And I like nothing more. When I used to have a band years ago, I would love to do the lead guitar, but there's nothing more unforgiving than an acoustic, as you know, as a player. If you make a mistake on an acoustic, look out. You have to be good on an acoustic guitar. There's no hiding it with distortion.
Yeah, or purple hair or flamethrowers as
right.
To hide the inadequacies. Well, we're going to cram 2 more tunes and we're rapidly running out of time here. I believe we're going to play up next, Kissing in the Rain.
Kissing in the Rain, yeah. That's I guess that's one where I can let loose at the end. There is a lead guitar at the end, which is kind of fun. It's a song about passion and the thrill of new romance is kind of like the other one. It's set in a foreign city with just you and your loved one, and it's raining out, and you kind of just let nature take its course and see where it goes from there. It's a song about being very vulnerable to whoever you're in love with and to nature itself. So it's called Kissing in the Rain.
You're listening to the music of Todd Norcross, our music special tonight. All about Todd and his, I'm hearing like the Beach Boys, or I'm hearing, that is some killer harmony you're getting there. In fact, I'm trying to think of the band. It wasn't the Beach Boys that popped in my head as I was listening to that. I'll think of it momentarily, but we're rapidly running up against the top of the hour. In case someone missed it the first time, Todd, where can they pick up copies of your music?
Oh, you can put my name in under Google, Todd Norcross, or you can go to my website, toddnorcross.net, MySpace, anywhere out there you can find my name. You can find this album and some of my older albums as well.
Todd will be coming back and joining us near the end of the year as soon as he has another album in the works. And, you never know exactly when it's going to be done, but we're looking at the end of the year?
Hopefully, yeah. I'm working on a new album of just strictly instrumentals, mostly guitar pieces, so I'm about 3/4 of the way through, and I work quick, so I'll have it out quite soon.
And he'll be joining us back again as soon as that's ready to go sometime near the end of the year, so look on our schedule. If you're listening to the archive, it may be up there now. In the few moments we have left, Todd, is there anyone you'd like to say hello to across the vast internet universe?
Sure. Well, of course, my parents. Hello, Mom and Dad, and my sisters, Charlotte, Christine, and my brother, Doug, and anyone else in my family who's listening. The guys down in Mason at the dojo, and my teacher, Mr. Hayes, and anybody else. I really appreciate anyone that's listening.
Well, you've done an excellent job on this album. There's a lot of great material on here, folks. There's 13 tracks. We've got about time to play about 5 of them this evening. In fact, we're going to go out with a 6th track. So get out there and support the artists that come through here. You guys do such a great job of it. We really thank you for doing that in advance, everyone. Todd Norcross, our guest. Todd, we're just out of time, but we have just enough time to spin for our listeners the final cut, which is the first cut on your CD, entitled Guitars. What are they about to hear?
Guitars is kind of my signature piece, and it's dedicated completely to Lindsey Buckingham of Fleetwood Mac. He's the best guitarist that ever lived, and if I can be half that good in his shadow, I will be good. So thank you for listening.
Thanks for being with us, Todd, and we'll be joining you again sometime maybe near Christmas.
Thank you, Z-Man. It's a pleasure.
Thanks, and talk to you then, everybody.